Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I am John, and alongside my cohort and commentary, Ashton, and this is our NXT review. And coming off the heels of an amazing event in TakeOver, this episode of NXT proved to be pretty average at best, guys. We're not going to lie. It took us a while to even get to this point to record this review because we just honestly felt underwhelmed by it. I mean, what do you have to say about it, Ashton?
Yeah, normally I do like to put these up in parts. We're probably going to breeze through this NXT review in under a half hour, so I'm just going to throw the whole thing up as one video because really, I don't feel like it's worth breaking up into parts because I feel like nothing eventful enough to have its own video happened on this episode of NXT. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad. It's not like I struggled to watch it or anything. It's not like a 2009 episode of Raw or anything like that. It was just very, how do I put this? I guess underwhelming could be a word, but I feel like we're starting to overuse that a bit. At the end of the day, it was just uneventful. Nothing really happened. We got 4 matches, none of which were bad, but none of which were really, oh my god, amazing, good. And the hype level from TakeOver did not carry into this at all.
I think that's a perfect way of saying it. I think that was the core problem of this episode of NXT, so I'm not even going to touch that. I just want to segue right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And again, not too hot, not too cold. I mean, it was just an average temperature all the way through. I got no heats of the night tonight.
Honestly, I don't have any actual heats of the night, but I will say that if I did have to pick anything specific to complain about, it would be the continued push of Mojo Rawley. I honestly thought after TakeOver with Rusev squashing him that they were going to kind of pull him back and maybe repackage him, maybe have him get better, maybe get in better shape before they bring him back to TV. But literally the first show after TakeOver, and suddenly he comes out and squashes Aiden English, and we're all supposed to forget about what happened to TakeOver.
Oh, believe me, no one will forget what happened to TakeOver. So many people love that segment, love seeing him get beat down. I don't even... It's funny because you know that you really don't think much of a guy when I see more potential in Mr. Greenpeace. All right, yeah, C.J. Parker than Mojo Rawley. But yeah, that's another story for another time. So I guess if that's your only criticism, which I agree with, I see no stock in Mojo Rawley. Let's just get right into our NXT review. And brother, how do we open this one up?
We open this one up with, as we were just talking about, Mojo Rawley versus Aiden English. Now, I did say squash. That might have been a bit of hyperbole, but it was. I mean, it wasn't a squash because Aiden English did get some offense in, but it was a squash because you knew the entire time there was no way Aiden English was going to win this match.
Right, exactly. It's funny how they book Aiden English because they definitely have him get legitimate offense and appear combative, but it's kind of like, in Christian's feud with Sheamus. What was my number one criticism? I couldn't get as invested as I probably should have been able to because I never believed in Christian's ability to beat Sheamus. It's the same way with Aiden English with most of his opponents these days. I just knew that he was going to get steamrolled more or less by Mojo Rawley, and that's exactly what happened. After some back and forth, Mojo hits the hyperdrive, he gets the win, and no one cares.
And the thing that bothers me most about this match isn't necessarily even actually part of this match. It's that Aiden English beats Colin Cassidy literally every time he faces him, and he can't beat Mojo Rawley? Really?
Yeah, I know, right? It seems so backwards. Really, with Aiden English, the only interest I have in him now is this tag team that he's allegedly supposed to be forming with Simon Gotch. The sooner we get that on TV, the better, I think, because the Aiden English act as a solo act, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it as much when he first came on. I feel like it's kind of worn out its welcome for me personally. So
Right.
I think a tag team is what he needs. And Mojo Rawley, well, he just needs to go away. So...
And you're not even saying that because you think he needs to get fired or anything. You literally mean just go away, get better, repackage, then come back. Because we see potential in this guy. We just don't like what they have him doing now.
he's got a great background, a background that WWE loves, does have a great physique, a great stature, if you
Okay,
will. I
John,
just
just
think the
gonna
gimmick does not work.
correct you here. He has a good physique.
He has a good physique,
I mean,
but
you can't say somebody has a great physique when they jiggle every time they go for their finishing move.
that is true. But I just think the gimmick is obnoxious. He has to have his own section to appear over. It's just not working. Now maybe the same gimmick, I don't know, but in more of an obnoxious sense would work. But I would just do a complete repackage personally. You can't do an extension of every single person and just keep tinkering until you find something good. Like it worked for CJ Parker, it grew on me with Bo Dallas, but it's not going to work for everybody. For Mojo Rawley, I feel like more of a complete repackage is in order for him to have any kind of a future, at least in my eyes.
I think that my biggest problem with Mojo Rawley is actually the same problem that I had with Leo Kruger. The difference, though, is that the performer under the Leo Kruger gimmick was significantly more talented than the guy doing Mojo Rawley. And that problem is you have a gimmick and you have something, but your volume is at about 3 and you need to turn it up to 10. Leo Kruger's gimmick was that he was a hunter, but the only reason you knew that was because the announcers kept on saying, "Oh, he's a prize hunter," you know. If they would have turned the volume up to 10, it could have been awesome. He could have been hunting animal themed characters in WWE. It would have been amazing. But they didn't, so they changed him, and we'll get to that at another time. But now with Mojo Rawley, his gimmick is that he is a football player transitioning into the wrestling world. That could be huge. He could use freaking form tackles. He could do all kinds of really cool football related drills and turn them into wrestling offense. But literally, the only thing that he does is get into a 3-point stance and prevent somebody from walking out of a corner. And it's stupid. He could have football related ever. I mean, he legitimately played in the NFL. He's not just some college burnout that couldn't make it in the big leagues. He was a Green Bay Packer, for God's sakes. He was an Arizona Cardinal. This dude has a legit history, and the only thing that they're letting him do to show that is getting into a 3-point stance. And no, you're not getting out of the corner. I'm going to keep on rotating my hips until you get trapped by me. It just is, it's underwhelming, and again, they need to either turn the volume up or repackage him completely.
I could also see viability then because I actually forgot that he was an official NFL player with the Green Bay Packers for many years. You know what? I would maybe turn the volume way up, have the moveset be entirely centric of his football background. Maybe have him not necessarily like that bullying job, but I guess something similar. Like have him have that huge chip on his shoulder because of where he's come from and how, at least kayfabe speaking, how ceaselessly he was able to make the transition. How smoothly he was able to make the transition from pro football to pro wrestling, and have him just be cocky and arrogant with that upbringing. I don't know. I think
Yeah,
my
and that's another thing. I could definitely see him being a more successful heel with that gimmick because he could do the whole, "Oh, well, yeah, I know that wrestling is difficult and all, but I'm an athlete, and athletes can do anything," kind of thing.
Exactly. I think, you know what, and then I want to move on because I really have nothing else to say beyond that, but I think my biggest problem with the Mojo Rawley gimmick as it currently stands, it feels fake to me.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. It feels fake. I don't feel any genuineness from it, and I feel like, yeah, we just need to tinker with it a little bit, and we could have something. I mean, I wanted to give up hope on CJ Parker. I'm enjoying what he's doing right now. I hated Bo Dallas for a long time. Now look how I rave about him in our recent reviews. So I'm not going to abandon any guy. If they just put forth the effort, maybe tinker a little bit, Mojo could find his way. We'll have to wait and see.
All right, John, let's put this to bed. I'm going to ask you one question, and it's going to be the last piece of advice we ever give to Mojo Rawley until something changes. Ready?
Sure.
If you could give Mojo Rawley any single piece of advice, anything that you think would improve his character, what one thing do you think would be the most helpful for him?
Listen.
Oh,
So
come on! You
no,
can't
yeah,
bail
no,
out.
no, 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 no. See, you give me a question, I give you an answer. That's my look. The best guys, and I think Batista gave a great interview when it comes to Bray Wyatt. You may have your stuff down and maybe clicking with people. Never stop listening. Never stop soaking up all the information around you, especially in a place like NXT where Triple
Okay,
H is very hands-on.
that is a great piece of advice, but it's also a cop out. How about something tangible?
Well, you didn't qualify that. I'm telling you, like that's the best advice I
I'm
could give.
not saying that it's a bad piece of advice. I'm just asking you to give me something more tangible.
I don't know what more I could give. I think that is the number one key. And not just listen to those guys, listen to the crowd. If something's not working, like when he had his match today in English, he was pointing to a certain section of the audience. I didn't hear anything. I don't know what he was pointing to. Probably somebody holding up a Mojo Rawley sign or this and that. Could have fooled me though, because unless he has his little section, he doesn't get a reaction. And as much as I really don't care for Cena at the moment, and you know that, I think the smartest thing he said was actually when he was on Steve Austin's podcast. If they boo you, great. If they cheer you, great. When you need to be afraid is when they don't say anything at all. And I just feel like he's not clicking with people as much as WWE would like to believe that he's clicking. So listen to it, take it in, and then ask yourself honestly. I mean, be honest. Don't be afraid to shake things up a bit and say, well, maybe my career isn't exactly where it could be. Don't play it safe. So listen for one. Don't play it safe, be the other. Don't be afraid to rattle some cages to get to places that you know you can be, because this isn't going to work for long.
Okay, well that thought experiment didn't really go quite as I had liked, so let's just move on.
All right, next match.
Actually, what we're gonna do is, since the next match was the tag match, let's talk about the little vignette kind of thing that Jason and Jordan and Ty Dillinger had before the match.
Yeah, they were having a little powwow there, I guess, teaming up, going over how I guess they're going to package themselves. They're like, what was that thing they said? They have this little thing going on where they say something something and then their names.
Hey, hey, hey.
I think it was either hey, 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 but it seemed like something else. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, let's say hey, hey, hey. And then it's hey, 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 Jason Jordan. And then hey, 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 Tyler Frederick Dillinger III. And then Jason Jordan kind of looks at me and he's like, what? And Tyler's like, well, that's what my mom named me. That's my name. And then Jason Jordan said, we said that wasn't going to work, bro. We said that wasn't going to work. So they're busy working it out. I thought it was a cool segment. It seems like they're going to go for that bro kind of thing, that brotherly kind of friendship that they're building up, and they're trying to be cool and they're trying to work their way out, because everybody points out that they're still a fairly new tag team, and I think that definitely showed in this segment here.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that they don't have that chemistry yet, but that is something that probably will show up with time as long as the WWE sticks to it. I do like the packaging though. I feel like they need a tag team name, and to me, the All Americans would be perfect.
Oh yeah, I mean, both of them with their athletic backgrounds, I think that would be just an absolutely perfect name. But you know what? I like that we're seeing them figuring out with each other how to gel, because I don't think you see that too often. I think a lot of the time, and this has been one of my problems with tag team wrestling until recently, where I feel like the division, as I've said for quite some time, has undergone a renaissance. But they just throw two people together and they expect us to buy it. We don't get to see the process. We don't get to see, them figuring things out for themselves. And I feel like we're kind of seeing that here with Jason Jordan and Ty Dillinger. And I think that's really quite refreshing, because it makes me buy into it more in the long run. So.
I will admit though, this tag team and kind of like their dynamic and what they're trying to go for, all it does is make me miss the Dude Busters.
Oh yeah, no, because you know what? That's perfect, because that's the vibe I was trying to articulate that I'm getting from these guys. And yeah, the Dude Busters were so legit. I really thought that they were going to be, WWE's answer to the Machine Guns back when they were really the hot commodity in the tag division
And you know
in
what's
TNA.
crazy too is that I feel like the Dude Busters were like 4 years too early, because if they would be on NXT right now, they would be the most popular thing ever.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And hopefully, Ty Dillinger and Jason Jordan, they have a chance to be a team. I think it's great because it gives them both TV time, particularly Jason Jordan, who I've been high on for quite some time. We'll see how far they can take it, but right now I'm enjoying the ride.
Absolutely. All right. So up next we had our tag team match. Jason Jordan and Ty Dillinger versus, I don't remember their names, but I do know that one of them was Philip Guljar, or Jargul, or no, it was Guljar.
It was Goldjar, aka the coolest last name ever, according to commentary, because they couldn't stop obsessing over it. Yeah, interesting tag match, because again, NXT shows that they don't do many typical squash matches or this and that. Like I expected Ty Dillinger and Jason Jordan to really steamroll these guys, and yeah, they did emerge victorious. But the other tag team, who were really just two no names put together, they got in some legitimate offense here and there. It was good.
Yeah, it was a solid match. What I really hope they do, though, because the announcers did put so much emphasis into reminding people, Philip Guljar, Philip Guljar, Philip Guljar, this guy has a name that we want you to remember. I hope that 6 months from now we see this exact same tag match, but it is a squash. That Ty Dillinger and Jason Jordan have gotten their chemistry down. They've become a cohesive tag team, and they have progressed since this week. I think it would be so cool if they did that.
Yeah, no, again, that's kind of what I want from the Ty Dillinger, Jason Jordan tag team. And until WWE comes up with a better name, I think henceforth I am going to refer to them by the name that you gave them, Ashton, the All Americans. Because, again, so often we see WWE throw two guys together and they say, make it work. And we see them on TV and we really don't get to see them working things out for themselves, figuring out what it means to gel. Like, I want to see that growth process with these guys because I think it could be a very interesting story to watch unfold on NXT. And yeah, I wouldn't hot shot them to the Ascension. Give them time. Have them go through teams. Hell, maybe have their contendership match be against El Local and Kalisto or something.
The
Really have
Vaudevillains.
Vaudevillains. Yes, the Aiden English tag team with Simon Gotch. Let give them the chance to become legitimate. Don't just feed them to the Ascension for the sake of getting a tag title match on a future TV card or event card. They deserve better than that, and I hope they get it because I'm a fan of both guys for sure.
Yeah, they're talented. So up next, we had a brief recap, I believe, on what happened at Takeover with Tyson Kidd and Natalya. And then we got a Devin Taylor interview with Natalya, who really didn't say anything. It was really like a really quick, like 10-second interview.
Yeah, Natalya pretty much just parroting everything she's said about Tyson Kidd and his main event slash championship woes that he's been having as of late. And she says, well, he always tries his hardest, and I'll always be proud of him, and I'll always be in his corner. That was pretty much the gist of the promo. Nothing new, nothing that you would consider a revelation of sorts. So we can just move on.
Absolutely. So up next, we had our women's match of the night, Charlotte versus Bayley. But really, the story here isn't so much the match, but the finish and what happened after the match.
Yeah, it was a very competitive match. I think this is actually one of Bayley's best matches for me personally. I don't know. I just feel like Charlotte's done a complete 180 for me as far as just how good she's been, both winning the championship and then her first appearance since winning the title. I really enjoyed this match. But yeah, as you said, Ashton, the noteworthy stuff was, what happened, in the closing moments of this match and then in the post match, because Charlotte looks like she's about to close in on the victory when Summer Rae's music hits. Summer Rae is now back, much to the shock of both Charlotte and Sasha Banks. Bayley tried to go for a backslide. Charlotte rolled through it, got the bow down to the Queen and the victory. But then what was even more interesting, Summer comes in the ring. She's hugging Charlotte. She's, hugging Sasha Banks. She's trying to, celebrate with them. I didn't know where Charlotte was going to go given her actions at TakeOver, being very babyface-esque with the tears and the hugging and the respect and everything. But they actually all three joined together in beating down Bayley in the post match. So for the time being, it seems like Charlotte is going to stay a heel, and then the cavalry would come for Bayley in the form of Emma and Paige.
It's a heck of a cavalry when your two best friends that are going against your three enemies are both main roster people.
Yeah, really. Really. And you know what? I like the newly reformed BFFs. I don't think it'll last long, for the record, given a segment that we would have a little later in the show. But it's interesting that Charlotte is going to stick to her heel guns for the time being.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that segment you were referring to was up next. It was actually all three of the BFFs backstage and Summer Rae kind of announcing that yeah, she was back. She had been in Hollywood, did a movie, was on TV, is on the main roster, Total Divas, all this stuff, and you should be thanking me for putting the BFFs on the map.
Yeah, and then she looks at the stick figure that they'd carry around of Summer Rae. She's like, "Oh, so cute. You won't be needing this anymore, 'cause I'm back." And she throws it down, and then Charlotte's pretty much like, "Yeah, that's what she thinks." So I'm going to say it right now, Ashton. I think it's going to be Charlotte that's excommunicated from the BFFs. I think it's going to go back to Sasha Banks and Summer Rae, the original two. And, maybe they'll both be pursuing Charlotte's NXT Women's Championship. But I think after her reaction at TakeOver and just the interviews and everything, I don't think WWE is going to want to keep her heel as a champion for very long. That's just my opinion.
I do agree with that, and it's actually kind of ironic because normally you want your heel to be a champion and a babyface chasing, and then your babyface wins the title and immediately turns heel because you want to keep that dynamic going. In this case, literally the exact opposite happened. You had a heel chasing after a babyface, kind of, if you want to call Natalya a babyface. I guess in WWE's dynamic she is. And when she won the title, or really through the process of winning the title, she in turn turned face. So it's just a strange dynamic. One thing I do want to point out here, though, I feel like Summer Rae's character on NXT is basically a caricature of herself on Total Divas.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree because if anybody observes Summer Rae on Total Divas, like she does have those snarky quips every now and again at the other divas, but only because they start stuff. And I feel like on NXT, that's just the volume turned way up, and she's pretty much a mean girl. You know, is how I would always look at a Summer Rae type. But I think it's great to have her back on NXT. I love the beautifully fierce females. It's great that we have like a female faction like this, and I don't see it lasting long, but I would like to see this go maybe a couple of weeks or maybe even like 2 months at least before they break up because I would like to see what these three women could do together in the NXT landscape.
I like that 2 month number. I would agree with that. So, up next, we had our main event of the evening, Adrian Neville versus Justin Gabriel. Man, every time I see Justin Gabriel in the ring, it reminds me how much I miss seeing Justin Gabriel in the ring. He is so good.
He is so good. What's funny is this match got misbilled because they said it was going to be a no disqualification NXT title match, which I found to be very weird. And you know they had a great back and forth outing of aerial offense. Again, as commentary pointed out, you know it's like Adrian Neville was going against a mirror image of himself yet again. He did it at Takeover against Tyson Kidd, and now when he's got Tyler Breeze waiting in the wings, who had a very successful music video, so congratulations to Tyler Breeze. You know, he has to take on Justin Gabriel now, so he's got his mind on all these different people. And yeah, they had a great back and forth. What I really loved about this match, especially in the early goings, these guys were trying to outdo each other with aerial offense, but then you also saw some solid technical wrestling from Justin Gabriel. One move that I liked that he did a suplex, and then he floated over into a butterfly lock. That was pretty cool. So yeah, it was a really great main event. I really appreciated the effort from both guys.
Yeah, it was. I mean, like I said, none of the matches were bad, but none of the matches were like exceptional. But this was the closest thing to exceptional that we did get on this show.
And there was one criticism I do have, and you and I think we say it consistently, but until it gets resolved, I think it needs to keep being said. Adrian Neville needs to have some kind of definitive signature or setup leading into his finisher of the Red Arrow, because
I
it
think
always
the kick
seems
to
like
the head is.
well, I would like to think it is, but like, didn't he do it this week by like a diving drop kick into the corner with Justin Gabriel just sitting there, and then Justin Gabriel I guess rolled over in pain to the appropriate position? Like you even said it when we were doing our analysis of Takeover, that even Naomi has the foresight to drag her opponent into the appropriate position. She doesn't expect her opponent to do the work when they're supposed to be in pain. I'm telling you, with Adrian Neville, he's so exciting, so fun to watch. I think his promos are actually better than what I thought they would be when he won the belt. He just needs to work on the little things, and it'd be absolutely perfect.
Yep, absolutely. So you know what? Before we move into our actual, like our last segment of the night, our post main event, because I forgot about it and because I actually didn't get to see it because my network literally skipped out when his theme music hit. Uh, talk about Tyler Breeze's music video.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. He pretty much comes out, talks about his win at Takeover over Seth Rogen's less, I think, either handsome or gorgeous brother, Sami Zayn. So that was hilarious. And then Tyler Breeze said, you know, I will be the next NXT champion, and I will be absolutely gorgeous. And then he debuted the world premiere of his music video, and Tyler Breeze, being the humanitarian that he is, dedicated it not only to all of his fans, he even dedicated it to the Uggos. What an inspiration.
So how was the
Uh,
music video?
it was good. You know, it was pretty much the recording session of Tyler Breeze for this for his theme. Gorgeous, which I have grown to love. I've listened to it incessantly. I've even memorized some of the lyrics, not embarrassed. Um, but then after that plays, you actually it's interesting the crowd response because you do initially get That was awesome chants. But then you do get people in the front row going, no, 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 no. So I'm going to be very interested to see how the crowd reacts to both Breeze and Neville when they approach their title match.
Right. All right, so now let's talk about the last segment of the night. Tyson Kidd's music hits. He comes out and basically apologizes for his actions at TakeOver, but then he does specifically say next time he faces Neville, he's going to win, and he asks for a rematch.
Yeah, again, very interesting stuff because, yeah, pretty much what you just said. Tyson Kidd comes out, says, my behavior at TakeOver, that wasn't right. You and I beat the hell out of each other for 30 minutes, and I should have been a big enough man to shake your hand. You beat me at TakeOver, fact. The next time we get in the ring, I'll beat you, fact. And yeah, he does ask for a rematch with Neville because they want to really portray him as a fighting champion. He accepts. And we don't know when that title match is going to happen. But I really thought Tyson Kidd was going to attack Neville, have that frustration carry over from TakeOver. But again, he leaves the ring peacefully. I do think, though, this is going to be the type of story where they have their rematch. Neville goes over again, and having lost 2 straight times, that's when Tyson Kidd is going to snap. So.
Yeah, and it's a shame, too, because having seen both him and Justin Gabriel in the same ring at relatively close to the same time makes me miss them as a tag team.
Yeah, they would make a great tag team. I heard plans of whenever Evan Bourne is going to return, that he was supposed to be put with Tyson Kidd as a tag team, which I thought could have been awesome. But now, I don't know if they're going to go with a heel Tyson Kidd, or the latest rumor I've read that Ashton, is that they may think about putting Tyson Kidd under a mask and repackaging him. Whatever you do with him, just do something, because he definitely deserves to be on TV. I friggin' love watching Tyson Kidd go to work, and honestly, the prospect of him being this kind of heel does intrigue me a little bit, so I'm not going to write it off just yet.
Here's my thing, though, dude. You say you want to see Tyson Kidd on TV. My question to you is, who would you take off TV for Tyson Kidd to get that spot?
Who would I take off TV? Honestly, probably a Kofi Kingston type. I mean, he's really just been kind of jobbing everybody, not really doing anything. I think, we take Kofi out. We kind of build up Tyson Kidd under the mask, because I think, any mask gimmick has a greater chance of getting over because it's colorful and it's vibrant and this and that, especially with Tyson Kidd's athleticism.
The really funny thing about
Yeah.
that, though, dude, is I've always said that I feel like Adrian Neville should get a mask.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and that's another thing too. Adrian Neville's such an exceptional high flyer, but you and I have said that under a mask, I think he would be just such a ridiculously over babyface and have like all the kids loving him and everything. So one of these guys needs to get a freaking mask, I think, and just run with it. And yeah, I would, whoever it was, whether it would be Neville, Kid, whatever we'd want to do, I think Kofi would be the guy to replace. And I have nothing against Kofi. Honestly, I'd have him go down to NXT for a little bit and do some stuff. So yeah, that's
Maybe
just
try
me.
some heel work, right?
Kofi has expressed an interest in wanting to turn heel. So I've wanted to see it for the last, I want to say 3 years at least, 3 to 4 years. So yeah, let's do something with Kofi. Let's do something with Kid, and let's get the show on the road.
I like it. All right, dude. That's everything that happened on NXT tonight. Let's close out. Or actually, we have one segment left.
Yeah, high spots and low shots. I'm gonna make this real simple. My low shot is Bayley. Gets the first crack at the champion with all the hoopla of NXT TakeOver, dying down. Had a chance to put up or shut up. I mean, heck, even when Charlotte was giving her post-match interview and it was asked, who are you going to defend your championship against first, the whole crowd was chanting for Bayley. So they give us this match. Bayley, despite a very competitive effort, did come up short, and she ate an assault for her troubles. Just thank goodness for her, the cavalry ended up coming.
Yeah, that's a good point. My low shot is actually Colin Cassidy because he can't beat Aiden English, who can't beat Mojo Rawley. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a horrible chain we got going on there, isn't it? Uh, Tell you what, my high spot is Adrian Neville. I mean, wins 2 straight matches, wins a takeover, and then wins a week later against a similar competitor in Justin Gabriel. And not only that, but he even granted Tyson Kidd a rematch, despite the fact that he's in the driver's seat in their little rivalry right now at 1-0. So there you go.
Here's a really ironic thing. I'm going to continue playing devil's advocate just like I did on Monday and make my high spot your low shot. My high spot is Bayley because she came into the WWE with the gimmick of fangirl who fawns over other female wrestlers that she knows from other countries, like, oh, I don't know, Paige and Emma. And now not only are Paige and Emma main roster divas, but they are coming to her defense. I think Bayley had a pretty freaking good night, even though she lost and got somewhat of a beatdown.
Yeah, that's a Dear Diary entry I'd love to be a fly on the wall for. Dear Diary, my hero saved me today. Paige and Emma totally caved to my defense when I was getting beat down by the beautifully fierce females. Now I'm getting these knuckles ready to deliver some punishment. Yeah, that would
There
be
you go.
All right, guys. Hey, well, Ash, you don't have anything else to say about NXT, do you?
No, man, that's it. I told you guys it was going to be a quick one.
Yeah, so with that said, guys, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. Be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube, and also be sure to comment and review on Pweetoff. And we will see you again for our Friday night SmackDown review. Guys, it's sure to be a night of revelations, as both Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins are scheduled to address the WWE Universe. Peace out.